Okay, these are notes for objective 1.4. This will be levels 1 and 2 on the test. We are rearranging literal equations. So literal equations, you will not get a final answer in a number form. We are simply rearranging to solve for a given variable. You can rearrange an equation to isolate any variable by using inverse operations. We've talked about inverse operations a lot in the last few objectives. This is also called solving for a variable. So here are my tips for rearranging. You're going to highlight the variable you need to isolate. So that's just going to help remind you, okay, where is my focus here? What am I trying to get by itself? You're going to follow the same steps for solving equations. Start with the terms that are farthest away or most separated from the highlighted variable. So you're kind of going to work your way closer and closer to the variable until you get rid of the last thing that's right next to the variable. Remember your inverse operations. So adding and subtracting are inverse. These are terms that undo each other. And then multiplying and dividing are inverse operations. So let's look at this example. We're going to solve the equation for x. So take your highlighter and highlight x, okay? So that's going to help me remember, okay, that is the letter that I'm trying to get by itself on one side of the equal sign. Based on my tips, I said start with the terms that are farthest away from. So I'm looking only at the side that x is on, so I'm looking at bx minus 5. I would say that that minus 5 is farthest away. So my inverse operation for that minus 5 would be to add 5. And that makes it 0 on that side. I also need to add 5 to the other side. So I'll bring down bx equals, now c and 5 are not like terms. So those are going to be separate still. We can't combine them. It's just going to be c plus 5. Now I'm going to highlight my x again, just to remind me that's the thing I need to get by itself. b is being multiplied by x, so the inverse operation to get rid of b would be divide by b. And then that cancels out. And then I need to divide the other side by b. So now I have x equals c plus 5 over b. And that is my final answer. I have isolated x. X equals c plus 5 over b. Okay, so that's what we're doing. All I've done, I didn't solve anything because I don't have an actual number value for x, but I just rearranged this equation to show the value of x, what represents the value of x. Okay, let's look at the next example. Number 1 wants us to solve for a. So first thing I'm going to do is highlight a. I'm going to identify what is the farthest away from a on the same side of the equal sign. That would be that minus d. The inverse operation would be plus d. So now I have abx equals, now these are like terms, 5d and 1d are like terms. So this will be 6d. Highlight, oops, not x, highlight a. A is my focus. Now a is being multiplied by b and x, so I can divide, and I can divide by both of them at the same time. So I'm going to divide by bx on both sides. Both letters are going to cancel out on the left. So I'm left with a equals 6d divided by bx. So I have now isolated A, and that's my answer. Number 2, we're going to solve for x. So highlight x and start with the term farthest away from x that of the terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm looking at ax plus b. B is farthest away, so I will get rid of that first. Subtract b. Now I have ax equals, now b, c, and d, none of those are like terms, so I'm just going to tack it on to the end. C plus d minus b. Highlight x again. I'm solving for x. A is being multiplied by x, so I'm going to divide by a. And I have to divide the entire other side by a also. So my answer is x equals c plus d minus b over a. Once I've isolated x, I'm done. Number 3, solve for x. Highlight x. First, I will get rid of that minus 5, add 5. 2x equals, 5 can't be combined with 4a or negative 3c, so I would just add it onto the end. 4a minus 3c plus 5. Highlight x. Last step is divide by 2. Divide the entire other side by 2. X equals 4a minus 3c plus 5 divided by 2. Once x is by itself, you're done. Number 4, solve for x. So highlight x. Now, if I have 5 in the denominator, that means 2x is being divided by 5. The inverse operation of dividing is multiplying. So I'm going to multiply by 5. That will eliminate it on the right. And then I need to multiply by 5 on the left. So now I have 5y equals 2x. Again, highlight x, just to remind yourself that you are trying to get x by itself. Last step would be divide by 2. So x equals 5y divided by 2. Number 5, solve for a. So I'm going to highlight a right there. First step is to subtract 1. 4a equals 5bc minus 1. Highlight a. Last step is divide by 4. A equals 5bc minus 1 over 4. Okay, last example. Solve for x. Highlight x. I have a number in the denominator again, so 5x is being divided by 4. The inverse of divide is multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. So now I have 5x equals, now remember when you're multiplying, these do not have to be like terms. Just multiply the coefficient by 4. So 3 times 4 is 12c. Last step, divide by 5. X equals 12c divided by 5.